Hello, everybody. I'm Aslan Javandi, Director of Digital Media. That is Michael Langston, recruiting analyst for Warchant.com, the ultimate Seminoles sports source. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also, subscribe to our podcast. Subscribe to everything that we do at Warchant.com. Get the app. That's what I was really trying to say. I had a little bit of a brain fart, but you maybe didn't even tell everybody. But yeah, download the Warchant app on your Apple phone, Android device. Search Warchant, download the app. You'll have everything you want: podcasts, breaking news, access to the Tribal Council, premium recruiting board, all that sort of stuff. So do that. And also hit the thumbs up, right, Michael?
Hit the like button, download everything. Now I can say download the Warchant app, so I'm not sounding like a computer and a robot every time I do this. But yeah, do all this stuff. Download, guys. Things are blowing up. Big things are happening. We're doing a lot of different things. So you want to just help us. Just hit the like button. That's simple. It's free. It's easy. Do it. It'll help us out.
All right, well, let's get to it then. Breaking news here on this Tuesday evening, I guess as we approach evening, Chris Parson has decommitted from Florida State. He was committed for 355 days. I did the math and everything, Michael. Give me a pat on the back. But
There you go.
here's footage of him from the elite camp last month. Yeah, man, it's a little bit bittersweet day, man. I guess unfortunately we get into the whole discussions about, well, he wasn't that good anyways when kids decommit. But when he did commit, I'm sure we have a video of it out there, and we probably talked about how good he was.
Yeah.
So ultimately, what does this mean for Florida State, Michael? Is there somebody else on the horizon that can fill in the shoes? And what do you think ultimately led to Chris Parson publicly decommitting?
Yeah, ultimately, I'm not going to say anything that haven't said before. I think Chris Parsons a 4-star talent. That's what I've always said, even when he was a 3-star for a lot of this time on a lot of different networks. But I just think at the end he was bothered by the two quarterback thing. He wants to be the sole guy. That's the impression I got. That's the feeling I got from the whole thing. And certainly when they were involved with other quarterbacks, so they want two quarterbacks. It was just a significant deal to him, and I don't think it has anything to do with anything FSU did wrong in the recruitment. They were active. They got him on campus consistently. The love was there. He has a great relationship with Tokarts and Norvell. He loves everything they're doing. But at the end of the day, you have to do what's right for you. And I think Chris just didn't feel comfortable with that. And then two, I think things are trending in a good direction with Brock Glenn, quarterback out of Memphis. There's ties to this whole entire Norvell staff. They like him a lot. I think there's a good chance that they pull him in here. And it's kind of, I go back to the same scenario I said that's the most likely, which was FSU signs a high school quarterback, and then they also get a transfer quarterback in the portal. I think that's the most logical way, because as you've seen with all this hooping and hollering and switching around and all this crap, it getting two high school quarterbacks is extremely difficult because you're dealing with egos and opinions. And Chris is a phenomenal kid. I'm not saying Chris has an ego or anything like that. Chris is a phenomenal kid. He's been great to me. He's been great to everything. But I said this from the start that once the once the stuff starts where there's concern, and Aslan, you agree with me throughout this whole process that it's not going to happen. It's more likely going to happen. So this was trending towards all the positive stuff. Everyone's like, hey, he's saying he wants to be here. All that stuff's great and all, but at the end of the day, you got to make a decision on what you feel is best. And Chris had to do that. And Chris is a dynamic playmaker. He's going to do well at some school. And but ultimately, and this is not like to kind of pound on top of it, I think Brock Glenn is more attractive for this offense of what they need. They need a guy that's a pure pass first guy that can sit that pocket and attract top receivers. Not saying that Chris is not an attractive prospect, but when you watch Chris, you see a dynamic playmaker. What he does with his legs and a lot of stuff, and occasionally with his arms, he can make plays. But I think FSU needs a drop back passer that's going to create buzz and bring recruits and receivers into your program, which they need badly. And so far, even with Chris being committed for 355 days, we haven't seen a lot of movement with top receivers coming to this program because of his commitment. But best of luck to Chris. But that's kind of my take on the whole thing. But I think that's kind of where things stand with the quarterback position.
I mean, it's almost been an entire year, Michael. Maybe it doesn't feel as real, a year previously when you're talking about being recruited and maybe another quarterback coming on. Maybe you're kind of like, whatever, I don't think that's going to happen. And then the closer you kind of get and you realize they're going to do that, it maybe affects, some of the math that you're doing in your head if you're a kid like Chris Parson. I mean, in your estimation, was this something that came up maybe in the last 3 to 6 months, or did he know the entire time that they were going to bring two quarterbacks in? Because something obviously changed.
I think they had a change of heart of going into the season for the spring, early in the spring, probably I would say around March or April. They're like, you know what, for whatever reason, we've covered the what scenarios it could be. FSU wanted to say, "Hey, we need two quarterbacks in this." It wasn't Chris. It was more so we need the bodies and we need the competition at this position that we're going to take two, and that obviously rubbed him the wrong way. And ever since then, we saw a lot of stuff that just led to that. The removing FSU stuff on his Instagram account, the posting offers from other schools that are still recruiting him. And for me, and like I said, this isn't a shot to Chris, but that stuff bothers me for a commit because the quarterback is the guy that other you know recruits you're going after, they kind of lean on. And so that needs to be the guy that you don't have to worry about that stuff. And that doesn't make Chris a bad person. It just makes, the value of what he's looking for in a program is different. He has to find, this is his decision. So he has to find the best place for him. But at the same time, I don't think that benefits FSU when that stuff's happening. So that's why I kind of said from the start with all the recruiting chats we've done that eventually this is going to end in climax to what we see today as far as him decommitting. But yeah, I do think Aslan, it did change. Once it was implemented that FSU is going to take two quarterbacks. But to FSU's credit, before they even offered or really went after other guys, they communicated this with Chris. They let him know kind of what their plans and what they're doing, so he understood what they're doing. Doesn't mean he accepted it. Doesn't mean he's happy about it. But I think it also, the message was clear about what FSU wanted to do, even if it was a change to how many quarterbacks they were taking.
Then now looking ahead again, you mentioned Brock Glenn probably starts emerging as a little bit more of a candidate for Florida State to fill that 2023 need, and then maybe they get a transfer because, as you said, getting two high school kids is difficult. Is there a timetable on Brock Glenn making an announcement? Does he want to get it done before a season starts, or is he going to want to make an in-season official before he makes a commitment? Do you think?
I think it's going to be this month in July. I think it will happen in July. I think I feel pretty good about kind of where they sit with him. Um, I think that's kind of what I'm monitoring is that Glenn is likely going to be a part of the fold, and then you'll just wait for that. But he has. I checked with Brock yesterday. He didn't really give me a time frame on what he was doing, but or when he was doing it. But he said I'm just taking it day by day. But I get the sense that we're kind of in that decision mode where it could be coming down in July. I don't have a date on that, but I think signs point to Brock Glenn being the guy.
All right, right on. Well, that's good. I mean, we're almost halfway through the month of July. Can you believe it? Football season's like 44 days away for Florida State. It's incredible, man. It's awesome. Stay connected to warchant.com and the premium recruiting board for the latest in all things Florida State recruiting. Michael, thanks for access to all the information you got up there.
Anytime, man.